Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. Welcome if you're new. If you've been here before, welcome back. This is the channel where I use the Lenormand card system to look at issues of the day. So here we are again on a Wednesday, even though it feels like, I mean, so much already has happened this week. It feels like it should be, you know, Saturday already, but it's Wednesday. And because it's Wednesday, I want to remind you that tomorrow is Thursday. Not that you needed any reminding about that, but I want to remind you that I'm going to be doing free readings um, tomorrow. I changed the first time. So it's going to be at noon on Pacific time, and then it's going to be again at 5 Pacific time. So both times are Pacific, but I changed the first time to noon Pacific to make it easier for people who are in the UK or Europe. So again, the times are Pacific. This live session will be open to everyone, but I will give priority to questions from people who are channel members. If I don't get enough channel member questions, then of course I will move on to answer other questions that I see in the feed. And I will be on for an hour each time, doing readings that generally are between 3 and 5 cards long. These are personal readings. So um, remember that I am not a physician, nor am I playing one here on YouTube. I am not an attorney, and God knows I am not your financial advisor. So if you take that all under advisement when you craft your question, that would be helpful. Um, and why am I doing it? It's just a way to say thank you for your kindness to me. In terms of just subscribing, liking my videos, commenting, sharing, hyping. I appreciate all of that so much. So it's tomorrow at noon and then again at 5 for an hour each time, Pacific time. So adjust accordingly. And that's tomorrow. I'll say it again at the end of the broadcast, and then I will also put it up on the channel so that you'll get a notification, I think, probably. Okay. So a lot's gone on, as I said. Uh, Oh, first off, I'm just going to go down my list, and you know that there's no real rhyme or reason to the order in which I answer these questions. But I want to just comment that I realize that there are many more than the 3 Democratic candidates I looked at for the governor's race in California the last time I did a video. But I was asked to look specifically at one candidate, so I decided I would look at that person in relation to 2 other very well-known candidates, and that's why I did that. I also said that I would be looking at that race when we're way closer to the date, and we're not anywhere near close to that date. So I will be doing a deeper dive when the time comes on that. I wanted to remind you that I have said from the beginning that Dan Bongino would be out. He is leaving of his own accord. We know that he was the number 2 person in the FBI. He's announced today that he was leaving, although we got wind of it yesterday. But I predicted that he would be gone. We knew he was given a babysitter who will be the new number 2. Um, and, I mean, I'm sure that didn't feel good to have a babysitter there. He's going to go back to podcasting. That is where he came from, the world of podcasting. And if you recall or you know anything about him as a podcaster, one of his big pet peeves was the Epstein files, and that he was going to, in his new job as number 2 at the FBI, make sure that they saw the light of day. Well, things have gone the way they've gone. And I guess the one Bongino question I thought I would ask is now that he's going to go back to podcasting, and also now that he has seen a lot of what there is to see, having been the number 2 at the FBI, Will he divulge to his podcast audience, of which I am not a member, not a member, but will he divulge anything that he discovered when he was the number two at the FBI in relation to the Epstein files? So I think I'll use the man, and that'll be Dan Bongino, and I just want to know what are his next moves. I mean, again, we know he's going back to podcasting, but will that will that make us any wiser than we are now about the Epstein files? So that's going to be Dan Bongino. Okay. Remember, when he took office, he and his buddy Cash Patel said they were going to get to the bottom of this and clear the swamp, etc. We have the moon, the ring, we have Bongino, we have the mice, and we have one of the women cards. Uh, Here's what I think. We've got Bongino in the middle. Uh, the moon, the moon is the card for reputation, and I can mirror it with this woman card. I mean, he was effectively um, made, uh, it had to go from yin to yang. Is that what I mean? No, yang to yin. When he got that handler, that guy who's now going to take the number two spot. So he's been pretty relatively powerless for some months now. Um, and I think that he has been given instructions essentially to stay that way because we have the ring and it's mirrored by the mice. I think that he has been sworn to secrecy. This is about commitments and promises and all of that. Um, uh, and 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 I think that what they did was the FBI didn't, or the government didn't say, for the sake of your reputation, you need to keep under wraps what you know. I think it's more that they said something that made him afraid that if he didn't keep his mouth shut, there would be consequences that he wouldn't like. So, will he come onto his podcast or return to his podcast and spill all the beans of everything that he knows about the Epstein situation? He will not. He will not. He has been effectively silenced. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with that podcast forum because, again, his big claim to fame was the whole Epstein thing, and that has sort of, for him, kind of fizzled out. Speaking of Epstein, this was another interesting thing that happened today. Ghislaine Maxwell filed a brief, and this was last minute and pro se. Pro se spelled Pro, new word SE. Pro se means for the self, which is to say she filed a petition um, by herself without an attorney's help. And the petition, it says essentially, um, my case should be vacated, turned over, overturned. I should be freed from jail. Now, she's tried this before. She tried it before, and her reasoning was it should be overturned because the president has said this is all a hoax. So if it's all a hoax, why am I in jail? Okay, that didn't go anywhere. So now her new plea, pro se plea, because I don't know, maybe she couldn't get an attorney to take the case, so that's why she did it herself, is to say, um, as of tomorrow, Thursday, no, Friday, as of Friday, all of the Epstein files are meant to drop. And and this is problematic because there will be information there that could be prejudicial to me. So therefore, overturn my conviction. Makes no damn sense. Now, why is she doing this? It's a Hail Mary last ditch effort. And I think part of why she's doing it, yes, is that the Epstein files are supposed to be released Friday. That is the law that the felon, remember, signed. That's the reason that Congress was out of commission for all those days that it was, because the felon did not want the that law to be on his desk, but it was, and he had to sign it. And so we will see what there is to see come Friday under penalty of punishment, criminal punishment, if they don't produce those things. So there's that, but it's more. Someone whom I'm going to talk about more in a second, Susie Wiles. Susie Wiles, who dropped a lot of bombs in that Vanity Fair piece, one of the things that she said was that the felon was horrified that Ghislaine Maxwell was sent to a um, cushier jail. Well, why would that be? I think that he was horrified because he didn't want people to think that he had anything to do with that, A. But what else is important about that statement? I think Susie Wiles was telling the truth when she said that, by the way. But we know it's from purely self-interest on the part of the felon. If the felon is horrified about her being moved, it's because he doesn't want to be blamed by the public for moving an adjudicated, convicted SA person to an easier prison. Now, more than that, why did Ghislaine Maxwell do this pro se motion? Well, if Susie Wiles is saying that, what does that tell you? It tells you that the felon at this point, and I've said this before on this channel, has no intention at this point of freeing Maxwell. I think he's gone back and forth on it, and the cards have indicated that back and forth. But in my last few readings on this, I said that I don't think that she will be freed. I think she has played her last card. This pro se motion is just nonsense. It's not going to go anywhere. No point even on my reading on it because it's just not going to go anywhere. Um, but the felon, what Maxwell will essentially, you know, um, not say, but what is understood is if you don't free me, I'll spill all the beans that I have on you. But here's what the felon knows. Those beans are already out there. Ghislaine is not the only one who has those beans. There are foreign nations that have those beans. The DOJ has those beans. Congress has those beans. Any of those entities could spill those beans. So just because he manages to extract a promise of silence from Ghislaine Maxwell does not dam the dike. It doesn't stop the flow of information. Therefore, she really is, you know, uh, not important to him anymore. In fact, he would probably just as soon see her return to her Florida jail. So let's look and see what will her fate be in light of this pro se motion for dismissal of her charges, her conviction, in light of whatever's going to drop on Friday in terms of the files, in light of Susie Wiles saying the felon was shocked and horrified that she was sent to an easier jail. What is what is her future looking like right now? What is her future looking like? Her being Ghislaine Maxwell. So I'm going to use whichever, well, you know what? I'm not. I was going to say I would use whichever woman card comes up first, but then I just happened to glance at the bottom of the deck, as I always do, and there's a woman card. We're going to use this woman card because even though that means it'll be the last card instead of the center card, whatever will be the center card will be very interesting. So I'm just going to flip the deck so it's facing me up, and I'm going to put that card last and then the other cards. Okay. So I'll probably draw clarifiers, but we have the man, the stork, the star, the mountain, and Ghislaine Maxwell is at the end of the line. So here's what I think. This is the felon, first card. This is the last card, Ghislaine Maxwell. So they are the bookends of this reading. The second card is the stork. We know that her hopes were pinned on him to create a better situation for her, ultimately to get her out of jail. This is what she hoped, the star. But I can mirror the second card, positive change, right? I mean, but it's mirrored by the mountain. Her situation is as good as it's going to get, and it could get worse. We'll see. And then she, of course, is at the end of the line. So it means that the center card that we have is the star. She still has hope, which is why she filed this pro se motion to vacate her conviction. Again, that's not going to go anywhere. But let's see what we get when we pull cards on the star and on the mountain and on Maxwell. So I think I'm going to pull cards on him. So I pulled cards on the felon in relation to all of this. Clarifiers are the garden, the ship, and Clover. Now, again, before she thought that he would let her free, garden, ship. So he would let her go free. She could go back to France or the UK or I don't know, wherever she has. I know she has a home in France. And that she thought she'd be lucky and that would be great. So that's what she thought. Stork, I didn't pull on because that's the same thing. That's she hoped that her situation would improve. Uh, Stars in the center, and the clarifiers are the tree, the man, and the house. Again, her hope centered on her long-standing relationship. That's the tree, her long-standing relationship with the felon, who happens to be in the part of the White House that he did not tear down yet. But now we have this delay. She hasn't been freed. Yes, she's in a much better situation for her. I mean, even with a support puppy. Um, Clarifiers are the bear, the key, and the lady. And I think that, she's really writing her ticket in that place. We know that the warden has been very helpful to her. That could be, it's a woman warden. The warden's been very helpful to her. Um, it's like she runs the place, Ghislaine. But she's also stuck in that place. There's been no further forward movement, meaning a get out of jail altogether card. Um, Here we have Ghislaine, and we have the clarifiers, which are the child, the son, and the dog. Uh, Ghislaine, is really not in the catbird seat anymore. There are too many reasons why she is at the felon's mercy, that she can't say, well, if you don't let me out, I'm going to tell what I know. Mm-mm, I don't think that's going to work. I think that's very clear, both to her and to her lawyers. The only thing that she has that she can continue to maybe hope for is that erstwhile former friendship that she had with him, because the dog is friends and the felon is was they were friends. I just don't think it's to the felon's benefit to cut her any further breaks. And if he's horrified at the breaks she already got cut by being moved, why would he cut her an even further break by letting her go free? I don't think he will. And again, I think that whatever drops on Friday will make the felon look way worse than he already looks, which is really saying something. And so for him to look like he is in cahoots with one of the central villains of the story, one of the other central villains of the story, that would be Maxwell, that would not be a good look for him. So I think she is in as good a position as she will be able to get. I don't think she will be freed. And it wouldn't surprise me if she landed back in that other jail in Florida or some equally unpleasant place. I don't know that she will remain in the prison that she's in because by rights, she doesn't qualify to be there at all in the first place. Um, Todd Blanche arranged that, I suspect, without the felon's knowledge. And technically, that was not his call or should not have been his call. So we'll see. I think she is in as good a position as she can get, and I don't think her position will improve, and it may even worsen. She could get sent back. Okay. Susie Wiles. I mean, I don't know what to read on her, except I do want to say, does she not remind you of Dolores Umbridge from Harry Potter? I think I can show you a picture. I mean, a picture, as they say, is worth 1,000 words, right? So let me just pull up a picture of her. Okay. Okay. Oops. Remember her from Harry Potter, the villain? Is that not Susie Wiles' hair? I'm just saying. Susie Wiles seems like, a nice little old lady, which is younger than I am, but she's apparently a battle axe. Um, and so there's that. And she agrees with everything that the felon does. So she did this interview. It spanned a year's worth of conversations with a Vanity Fair writer, and she um, spoke not in not too complimentary terms about people like Vance and Musk and Vogt and people like that. But she's all in with him, the felon. She's all in. She's not a guardrail. She's a bad guy. Entertainment purposes only, and allegedly. So, what's so interesting to me is that even though the things that she had to say about a lot of people in the administration were not complimentary, the party line in the administration is to defend her, to back her up, to say, to agree with her when she says what she said, which is that she got railroaded by the writer, that the writer, wrote this article and a lot of what she said was taken out of context, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I mean, do you not know who you're talking to when you're talking to the press? Come on. Um, was she, I mean, these were conversations that took place over the course of a year. Did she get buddy buddy with this older gentleman reporter? Uh, d- um, were they Were they having conversations over cocktails? Is that what happened? Like what happened? Why were her lips so loose? I guess that's what I want to know. Why were Susie Wiles' lips so loose in that Vanity Fair interview? That's what I want to know. She is in no danger of losing her job. It's very interesting. She did not speak highly of Pam Bondi or of the Nazi in chief, Stephen Miller, allegedly. So I forgot what the question was I was going to ask. Hmm. If this were live, I would say, what was that question I was going to ask? And you all could tell me. But I guess I want to know, yeah, why were her lips so loose? That's what I want to know. Why were Susie Wiles's, and Susie, right? What a diminutive, cutesy kind of name, cutesy Susie. But Wiles, Wiles. Look it up if you don't know the meaning. Wiles. She's got wiles, all right, because apparently um, she is good at managing the felon. So why were her lips so loose with that interviewer? I mean, I guess when you meet with somebody for 10 times over the course of a year, you maybe get comfortable. I don't know. Okay. So the cards are birds, rider, crossroads, fish, and garden. I really think, and I pulled clarifiers on the crossroads. I think that I think that's what it was. I think if you take a whole year to sort of cultivate a relationship with a subject, as this reporter did, um, his goal, of course, was to make her lips loose, to make her familiar with him and comfortable with him, so that she would spill information, gossip, that in the end he would make public. I mean, the most interesting thing about this is the fact that she was on tape. So even though she's, trying to deny, oh, I didn't mean X when I said X, what I meant was Y, well, she's on tape. So it's like when the felon says, oh, that wasn't me in the picture. When, yeah, it was you in the picture. Um, I think that he got her comfortable and they just became chatty and gossipy, and she just spilled it, and he made everything public. Um, the writer is about the message from all of this. And I do think she feels some type of way. I think she obviously has second thoughts, feels like she got betrayed. She said as much. I drew cards on this crossroads, and they are the tower, the clover, and then the scythe. Well, this is interesting. I mean, right now, people are taking the felon's lead in this, and they are making the choice, most of them, to support her. I mean, I'm sure Pam Bondi's not thrilled. I'm sure Stephen Miller's not thrilled. But what's her name? Caroline Levitt has been supportive. She couldn't get out there fast enough. I mean, so I do think that people are choosing camps, because this is about choices, and some people pick that way, some people pick that way. I think there will be people who don't trust her moving forward in the government. Um, Again, for the most part, people have been defending her. But it could get to the point where her position, or as loose-lipped as she was, it could cost her. Now they'll make up some excuse. I don't know what would they what's the not common thing? Oh, I wanted to spend more time with my family. It could be something like that. Because this can be the card for being fired. Uh, I think she was very honest with that reporter. And the thing is, if you feel this kind of way about all these people, why are you still there, Dolores Umbridge? Like, why are you still doing the felon's bidding? Not just doing the felon's bidding, why are you facilitating him in his uh, destruction of the country? What does that say about you, Dolores Umbridge? You can't be a good guy and a bad guy at the same time. Even if your name is Susie, it doesn't work like that. So this will be very interesting to see moving forward how things play out. I think everybody was probably blindsided and gobsmacked and don't know what to think. So their first instinct is to circle the wagons around her because she is the chief of staff and to follow the leader's lead. And the felon hasn't said anything negative about her. So I think that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting to see if they can officially pounce on her. But right now, they can't. And right now, it looks like the party line is to support her and to say that she was misquoted or railroaded or something by the reporter. Okay. Um, the Rhode Island killer. They still have not caught him. Um, Remember, they went down that wrong path and apprehended somebody really quickly, and then come to find out that guy had nothing to do with it. They had to let him go. They have zero leads. They have some not very clear video of a guy who looks, like older than 20s, a little bit lumbering, sort of, but then he's got heavy winter clothes on, so it's hard to tell. And apparently there was, in all the video of him, he's alone, which is interesting. I mean, Providence and Brown that's a very busy place. So, but there's apparently someone who who was in the same frame as some of the shots that they caught the suspect in. And so currently, law enforcement is asking that person, that innocent bystander who just happened to be in the frame, could you step forward because maybe you have stuff to tell us and that we really want to hear. Look what I did. I put on two different earrings today. I mean, it was an accident. I just noticed it. Oh well, it's okay. It's a look, right? Um, they really don't know what they're doing. And I've said this to you before that when I looked at this, the vibe I got was that he got away, that he had help getting away. When I saw that ship card, it made me think, A, that they were not from here, and B, that they would have some sort of way of disappearing, getting away, going back to where they came from. So I guess what I want to do is use the scythe and let that stand for the murderer of those two young people and the wounder of all the others. I think there were like, what, 9 people wounded and 2 killed. So we're going to use the scythe, but it will stand for the person. Um, and what I want to know is what will happen? What's next? What will happen with them? Will they be found? Okay, so we're looking for the scythe. Again, that will stand for the killer. So this stands for the Rhode Island Killer. I know it's an elf with a scythe and he doesn't look too dangerous, but that's what this is standing for. This is the Mary, Merry, Bell, Belle, Lenormand. You can find it on Etsy, I think. It was a gift. So, all right, so that's him. So we have the house, we have the letter, the killer, the lily, and the moon. I'll tell you something. A friend of mine who lives in the UK messaged me about this case, and they're very gifted as well. And they said that they wondered whether this was a hit. In other words, let's say, for just for the sake of argument, I'm making this up. Somebody's kid didn't get into Brown, and so they hired somebody to go in there and, do the deed. Um, I don't know if I mean, that's not what I felt, but I will say that I do get the sense that they knew what they were doing. Um, this was not some, you know, let me just close my eyes and point and hope that I can get somebody and hope that I get away. No, they've, it's all planned. Um, the house, I think that they are back where they started out. I think they have escaped to that extent. And I remember that the last time I looked at this, the letter came up, and I said that a lot of times people who commit crime, when they look like they've gotten away with it, and the trail is cold, there's no suspects, etc. This annoys people who commit these kinds of crimes because they want it known on some psychological level. They want credit for their good work. So, this feels very much like that to me, like ha ha ha, like the what was that? The BTK killer. Remember that? Like ha ha ha, you can't get me, but I got you guys. Ha ha ha. I just feel like there will be some missive, some communication from this person saying na 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 like that. Uh, We've got the scythe in the middle. The two cards at the end of the line are really interesting. It's the lily and the moon. The lily is a card for calm, and the moon is the card for identity. So I feel like they're saying to themselves, ha, I'm good. Mission accomplished. Um, I've done the deed, and now I can relax because I am really good at what I do. Now, I pulled cards on the site, and they are the guard, sorry, the garden, the man, and clouds. So here he is out there in the world somewhere. Garden is everything outside your front door. So there they are out there in the world. And the trail has been effectively obscured. I mean, they really have no leads. They have zero leads. Um, and I think right now they're feeling very comfortable. I'm going to pull some cards. Yeah, yeah. Okay, this is interesting. I pulled cards on the lily, and we have the star, the rider, and the tree. So here they are, really comfortable. They did the deed. Um, the star, they hope now that they'll have this bright future. Now, the rider is about a message. And I said this before. I think that in time, there will be a message in time because the tree is a long time. So time will pass. It will look like the trail has gone cold. And, you know, the officials will be stymied and miserable. And the killer will be bored and annoyed that they have not gotten credit for what they did. And I think that they will make it clear who somebody will take responsibility for this, is what I'm saying. Now, I pulled cards on the moon, and they are the ship, the dog, and the ring. And this makes me go back to what my friend in the UK said. So, this is their identity. I think they have gone back to where they came from with the help of whoever was aiding and abetting them. And I'm going to say this, seeing this ring here is very interesting, especially because I can mirror it with the house. Uh, could it have been a contract hit on Brown, like my friend in the UK said? Possibly. So I know that's unhelpful, but as I said, I am not the Scotland Yard, and I am not the FBI, nor am I the Rhode Island police. But um, I just find this very interesting because a ring is a promise, a contract. The promise could have been, you do this act, and in return, of course, you'll be compensated. But beyond that, we will make sure that you get away. Um, and we will help you get away. That's help getting away. So I think this is more than just a lone, disgruntled guy. Beyond that, I don't know. But um, as they say, this is getting curiouser and curiouser. Notice that in the most recent briefings, you have not seen the FBI. Our friend Cash has certainly not been front and center, nor should he be, because the FBI under Cash already messed things up. You know, it's only recently now that they're looking through the snow for tracks. Meanwhile, what? I mean, all that time that passed and they didn't investigate those. I mean, anyway. If I get any more sense of things, I will let you know. But I just feel like they got away safely with help. But we don't really need cards to know that because obviously otherwise they'd be in custody, right? Um, and my friend in the UK could be correct. It could be a professional hit because to be able to do that much damage, and then escape into the ether in a crowded place like Providence, Rhode Island, a crowded campus like Brown. So it feels very purposeful, and I think there was money involved. I do think so. And I think that the person had help getting away, and that they're far away at this point. But again, we'll see. I could be right, I could be wrong. Um, Jack Smith testified before the House committee today. He had wanted to testify publicly, but of course, the Republican committee did not want that to happen. So he had to testify behind closed doors, but we were able to access his opening statement. And you should go find it. It is searing in its indictment of the felon, um, just making very clear that he uh, did everything he could to subvert the results of the 2020 election, which we know. Now, whether anything comes of this, I saw a congressperson asked about that, and she said she had been on the January 6th committee, and she said, well, let's see what else we've got going on once we get back into power. She's a Democrat. Where this falls in the order of importance of things that we have to address. Um, but it's great that Jack Smith's statement was at least able to be released to the public. I would like to know if his testimony moved the needle at all. We know that the Republicans on the committee wanted to, embarrass him, make him look like he hadn't done his job or had ulterior motives, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think they were successful from what people in the room have said. Um, but it's not like any of those Republicans are going to say, oh my God, really? The felon did all that? Well, Jack, let's get you before a camera and let the country see. And matter of fact, get the sergeant at arms to, arrest whoever we need to arrest. I mean, that's not going to happen. So, Jack Smith's testimony, will it move the needle? I mean, let's spirit pick all the cards. Will it change minds at all? Jack Smith's testimony today. So you have the bear, the rider, the ship, the fish, the gentleman. I mean, we know that the felon tried to strong arm elections officials and governors and things to manipulate the vote. This was his, you know, his aggressive, narcissistic, bullying, cajoling way to send the message to these um, elections people that they needed to go his way. Um, Now we have the ship in the center, huh, and then fish and gentlemen. I mean, he was willing to fund campaigns or pay money in order to get the result that he wanted. That didn't happen, obviously. So I think moving forward with this ship card here, we have the garden, the snake, and the book. I do think that Jack Smith's testimony will, um, how can I put this? Will advance the cause. Ship advance the cause, I'm going to say. And let the public, that's the garden, know that there was, dirty business going on, snake, that we were not to know about. So, again, will it put anybody in leg irons who needs to be there? No. Uh, you know, enough people knew who the felon was the first time around. So the fact that we find ourselves in this position is thanks to people who voted for him anyway. I really think it's important to not say, well, they stole the election, that's why he's no, that's not. They tried to steal it, yeah. There were definitely irregularities in this election, that's true too. But enough Americans wanted that guy back again. And so here we are. Are we done yet? Have we had enough of him yet? So Thursday, not there, well, tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow I'll be doing personal readings, so we won't talk about politics tomorrow. Friday is when the Epstein files drop, all of them, thanks to the bill. And we'll see what comes of that. I will read on that on Friday. If you're looking for me, I will be here again at noon Pacific tomorrow for an hour live. And then I'll be here again at 5 p.m. Pacific for an hour to read on your personal questions. So it is first come, first served. I skip questions that I feel are not appropriate, but I will do my best to kind of phrase the questions that you bring me in such a way that I think the cards can answer them. And again, if you're a member of the channel, I'm going to give you precedence in the answering of your questions, but come anyway, even if you're not a member, because I could get to your question as well. And I'm doing it again as a thank you, but also to show you how the cards answer questions about people's real lives. My goal in this channel is to help us through these hard times, to sort of do some self-examination of ourselves, both in terms of politics and race and culture, all of that, but also to show you uh, the power of divination and to make the case that you, as your birthright, have a right to access the information of your higher self. And cards are one way to do that. So that's why the channel is here, and I hope you'll see another facet of that tomorrow in those readings. So it's an hour each time tomorrow at noon, sorry, noon Pacific, and then again at 5 Pacific. So I'm gonna gear that up now, so hopefully you'll be able to see the announcement of that. Um, but anyway, so I'll see you tomorrow, and in the meantime, have a great rest of your evening. I am not tuning in to watch what the felon has to say today. He's speaking tonight to the nation, but there will be all kinds of analysis of it after the fact. So, yeah, all right, take care.